Hello and welcome to a new episode of Where No Pod Has Gone Before. We're a science fiction podcast and I am your host, Julian.
And I am your co-host, Titan.
And today we are going to one of the foundational texts. We're going to Doctor Who.
Indeed, absolutely.
Specifically Doctor Who, which is actually what it's called, but we're going to call it Doctor Who the movie, to be specific. A backdoor pilot attempt for an American reboot that was broadcast in 1996, directed by Jeffrey Sachs. And I think we need to start with talking about Doctor Who and our relationship with it.
I think so, yes.
You know, we have a Star Trek name for the pod. We've talked a lot about Star Trek, and Star Trek is probably the number one foundational thing for me in terms of science fiction, but Doctor Who is the one for our friendship, I would say.
I would say so, yes. I think so, yeah.
Because I was pushing you to watch it, and then you were like 5 seasons behind me or whatever, and I was just like, oh, have you seen that one yet? Have you seen that one yet? In the back of maths class.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's sort of it's like a cornerstone of our friendship in general, right?
Exactly.
That's sort of like when it was cemented, I think, like back of the maths class, and Doctor Who was a big part of that always.
Yeah. And over the years, as the show has gone on, we've had like podcast type conversations about it, being like,
exactly,
they should do this, and the writing was this and that, and I like that episode. And
I know for sure.
But my love of the show is interesting. I don't rewatch it a lot like I do Star Trek or X-Files or something like that, because I always feel like, let's just keep going forward. And that is the brilliance of the premise, right?
Yes.
It's always reinventing itself. The possibilities are endless. It can always be anything. Whenever you tune in to watch that new episode, what it could potentially be is anything. That is right. the ultimate brilliance of the show, and why I keep
you want it to change as well, right? You don't want it to always be the same. It's sort of, I'm less upset when Doctor Who is not what I'm expecting it to be, right? Because it's like, okay, yeah, but in the next 5 years it'll be different again.
Exactly.
So like, whatever.
Yeah, and that's what guided us through the Chibnall years.
Exactly.
Which we should call it that, and not the Whittaker years, because ultimately he was at fault for the failure there. But I mean, I've been up to date since the beginning of Capaldi, so that's 2014. And I've watched every release pretty much right after it's broadcast in the BBC. As soon as I can get my hands on it, I'm watching it. And I've been up to date since then. Been up and down, but it's one of the greats, and I'll always love it, and I'll always follow it. But it was nice to go back and tick off a piece of important Doctor Who history, which I'd been putting off for a while, I think.
Right, yeah, because I mean, I know that I think you've probably watched more of the classic series than I have. I've sort of watched a couple of serials here and there, mostly Tom Baker. I think I might have watched something from Hartnell, but like most of the other stuff I haven't really watched most of. I think you've watched a little bit more, right?
Maybe. I mean, like, I think the classic show is, I think the best way to approach that is just to find like a top 5, top 10 list per Doctor and just kind of tick those off. I don't think it's worth it going through the whole thing.
Not all of it exists, right?
Exactly.
So you can't go through the whole thing.
But I also have this like romantic notion of one day just like channel surfing and just finding it late at night and just dropping in, and that's kind of what it's there for me, is like, I just remember it. I'm like, oh, classic Who. I'm going to check out a few today or something. It's not, this is going to sound sacrilegious. It's not as good as New Who.
It's not, right? I mean, it had a lower budget. It had lower interest. It's sort of sacred, right?
Yes.
And you love it for being bad in places, but I mean, I think the show definitely took off with New Who, right? It sort of became a new phenomenon than what it was before.
Yeah. And that's what they tried here with this film. It was an attempt from a long time fan working as a producer who was trying to get an American reboot of it off the ground, and they did manage to get this as an attempt at a pilot for a launch, which failed. Objectively speaking, we can talk about creatively whether it failed or not, but there is no American reboot show, so by that standard, it did fail.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to look at that and look at New Who and see where one went right and one went wrong.
Yeah, because I mean, there's sort of parts of it where I'm like, ooh, this almost feels like New Who, right? Like you could see what they were sort of going for.
Yeah.
You could like imagine the series that might have come from this, and it would have been similar to New Who in a lot of ways, but it would have. I think they still they hadn't quite fully developed the idea to what it would have been, to what we actually got. So it's interesting to imagine the show that we could have gotten from this.
Yeah, and I do think I haven't looked into this, but you can infer that Russell T Davies would have looked at this and been like, okay, I'm gonna zag from that approach.
Yes, I think so.
I've written down a few things where I think one went where the one approach was much better, but maybe we can talk about our reactions to this film, which I believe is a first time viewing for both of us. Am I?
No, it's a second time.
Oh,
for
okay.
Me. I mean, it's been a long time. I think I watched it maybe not quite 10 years ago, but it's been a long time since I've seen it. So I sort of remembered the first half of it, and then afterwards, most of the actual story I forgot. I forgot about.
That tracks. That tracks.
Exactly, right. Like I remembered the whole part about the Seventh Doctor and the regeneration and all of that, but then sort of once he became the Doctor, I sort of remembered liking him a bit, but after that, not really remembering much. So in many ways, it was like a first time viewing, but I have watched it before a long time ago.
Right. But yeah, so initial reactions before we get into it. So I've got a little list of things that I really liked about this film. Number one, I love Paul McGann as the Doctor.
Yes, I think so. I completely agree with that.
And that's the end of my list. It was not. I did not like this at all.
Okay, interesting.
Right. You can feel the mechanics of like production weighing all over this. I think, I've just settled on this. Like, I'm not interested in Time Lord lore or all that stuff.
Yeah.
Just go out there and put the Doctor in a situation that he reacts to with a companion. That is more interesting than like making the Doctor a main character, right?
No, I mean, I think it's important to remember that it was a pilot, right? It's sort of it was supposed to be setting up the character for people who didn't know him yet, right?
Yeah.
So like potentially most of the American audience, I would say, wouldn't really be familiar with him. So like they sort of had to be like, this is the Doctor, this is all the stuff, it's bigger on the inside, blah blah blah, and then like the series would have probably been less I don't know, setting things up, right? It would have gotten more into it. So that's why I think this movie is very obviously a pilot, right? And that's why we watch it now in isolation and we're like, it's not that great, because nothing really happens yet, right? It's sort of, this is the introduction story, and where the real story was supposed to happen is in the series that follows this, and we never get there.
Yeah.
So I agree though that like not enough happens in this movie to make it that interesting, except the potential that you see in Paul McGann.
Yeah. But maybe now I'll talk about Rose, the first episode of New Who, and the differences, right? Because so I think first thing that's very different is the Doctor is not the main character in Rose, and the Doctor is the main character in the film, right? So it's a human character reacting to this alien
Yeah,
person,
yeah. Which you
which
can sort
keeps,
of, yeah, you can imagine yourself in that role, right? You
exactly,
can put yourself in
exactly.
Rose's shoes and be
It's the
like,
audience
whoa, yeah,
stand-in, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So the Doctor's at a distance, right? So that whole alienness, the difference, the mind that's moving 3 times as fast as ours, you
mm,
keep that at a distance, right? And look
right.
at that through a human lens.
I mean, I suppose that's why the Doctor has always had companions, right?
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
We are the companions, and we're going along on the journey with him. So yeah, no, that's an excellent point.
It doesn't assume any prior knowledge, right?
Mm,
It gave you the knowledge, like this is who I am and everything, and um, this film, like, it tries to spoon feed you everything, but because it is so like heavy handed in its like lore, right, in bringing all the
yeah,
lore in,
right.
it just becomes a little overwhelming, I think. And
Yeah, because we sort of get that lore in New Who slowly, right, over
yes,
the first few seasons. We keep learning more stuff about it. Because, yeah, the first time I watched it, I knew nothing about Doctor Who, just that it was about time travel or something. But I didn't know about the TARDIS being bigger on the inside or Time Lords or anything. But you get that throughout the series. You don't
yeah,
get it all dumped on you in the first episode.
yeah. And the threat is simple, right? It's the Autons, I believe it was,
Yes.
in Rose,
Yeah.
and it's more like a blueprint of like, this is what you're gonna get. There's a small threat,
Mm.
and we're gonna um, solve it within the confines of 45 minutes. And we've talked about this with our Star Trek stuff, but like, the end of the world threat is
Yeah.
ultimately not that scary. you know
It's not the one that sticks with you. Yeah.
yeah, but if you have like a relatable character
Yeah.
who you like and you're invested in, um you know that person being under threat is more scary than the world being under threat, right?
Mm.
I
Mm.
mean, like Blink, right? Sally Sparrow. It's just like a one-off
Yeah.
character. I can still name her because it's so brilliant, right?
Exactly.
You're
Yeah.
so
No,
invested in
exactly.
her.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And I mean, the Doctor is barely in that episode, right? I mean, he's on the
yes,
TV
yeah,
screen and then he's at the end. You don't remember, like, the Doctor is not the best part of that episode. It's all
yeah,
about the companions and the situation that they find themselves
yeah,
in because of the Doctor.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but when you think about this film, how it opens with the Doctor, and it opens with narration from the Doctor, and you're getting the backstory and everything. Where
Mm.
Rose is just like, okay, here's a human who is being chased by monsters, and a hand grabs her and says, "Run," and then we're off. Right?
Right. Yes.
It grabs you, like it literally, like it
Yeah.
grabs you, grabs a character, and
No, you're
and
right.
you're off, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you don't
and
even know who he is when he grabs her, right? Like, okay, is who's this? Is just the night
yeah, but
manager or what? Like,
exactly. But that's it.
yeah,
That's what's making you lean in, and
yeah,
you're like, "What is going on?" And
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, ultimately, I think the reverence to the character and like the lore, and uh, um, trying to make it so large scale is what brings this down, right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
No, I sort of feel as well that if the series had been made, that we would get the Master recurring a lot, right? Like he would
yeah,
be there the whole time. He would be like in every third episode, behind everything, right?
yeah,
He
and
would be
also
like a major villain.
yeah, and the actor playing Eric Roberts was considered like a get, like a someone who
Ah,
was
okay,
big in the 90s or whatever. And the
right.
casting is funny because you can go read up all the people who auditioned, and like Peter Capaldi was like, I didn't audition because I didn't expect to get it. And but
Right.
if you go on like IMDb trivia, there's one bit that says the role was offered to Tom Hanks, who said that an American should not play the role, so that's why he turned it down.
Good
To
lad.
Harrison Ford, who
Oh
did not
wow.
want to do TV at that time, and Jim Carrey, who felt that audiences would not respond well to him as the Doctor. I was like, this is nonsense. These guys were not in. They were not ever going to do this.
Yeah,
So
no, you're right. Actually,
it's
yeah,
just like the idea that Tom Hanks in the mid 90s,
yeah.
he's got back-to-back Oscar wins or whatever it is,
No,
and doing
exactly.
Saving
He's
Private
not going to
Ryan.
become the Doctor. Yeah, no, jeez.
It was really funny to me to read that. Harrison Ford is like, that would just be terrible if he was the Doctor.
Completely, yeah,
Um,
completely.
Yeah. But I don't know if we have anything more to say for our like initial reactions before we get into it.
I don't think so. I mean, I think we've probably covered most of it, eh?
All
Yeah,
right. Well,
I reckon.
let's get into it. So, the film really jumps right into it, right? So we have narration from the Eighth Doctor, right? I want
Yes.
to bring that up later. Um, and the Master had a trial on Skaro, and
Yes.
immediate. Yes, you see your face. I had the
Yeah.
same one. I was like,
Yeah.
wait, Skaro is the
On
Daleks'
Skaro. Yeah.
homeworld.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be on Gallifrey? Like, what?
Yeah.
um,
I was like, what have they made up now? You know, like
yeah,
they're no longer enemies, they're allies now, and they're both like, actually the master's our real enemy, you know?
yeah.
Like, no, please.
Um, and the Master's wish is for the Doctor to take him to do the prison transfer, basically,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's transporting him in the form of like a primordial ooze. That was
Yeah.
very strange to me. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Although, I mean, we have sort of seen that sort of thing before, right? Where, I mean, not exactly like that, but where the master somehow, you know, he does something where you're like, oh, I didn't know Time Lords could do that or whatever. You know, he
yeah,
becomes
okay,
some weird entity or whatever. It was a bit strange, you know, to give him the whole snake quality, right? Because that we see later.
yeah,
I was like, okay, where does that come from? But
yeah.
yeah,
It's like
whatever.
it's like a conscious ooze, and then it turns into a
Yeah,
cobra. Like,
yeah,
um, but we are catching up with the Seventh Doctor, right?
mm,
And the narration is still going, and I really like the moment where the Seventh Doctor speaks, and the voice is so different from the narration. That, like, I like that
right.
jarring effect. It's like that is actually for a new viewer would have been quite interesting and weird and like a
Yeah, because
hook.
you're like, okay, but who is this? Is this the guy speaking or not? Right.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Now the TARDIS has to the ooze has escaped and got into the TARDIS console, I think, and it
Yeah.
has to
Yeah. And I mean,
materialize in San Francisco because it's an American production.
yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
on the eve of the new millennium, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, which I learned from recently watching the X Files because they have an episode where they cross, 1999 to 2000. That the new
Hmm.
millennium is actually 2001. If you think about it,
Yes.
yeah,
No, it absolutely
yeah.
is. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
As I
But
always think of that now.
yeah. No, exactly. That's the actual millennium, but everyone celebrated the change of the date format, right?
Yeah,
Because it's like,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it's the aesthetic of it.
Yeah, but
Uh,
I suppose, you know, I think it was people were building up to it. So in 1996, people would have been like already, you know, like, oh, imagine what
yeah,
the Millennium Party is going to be like and everything. So I think it
exactly.
was a sort of at that time it was quite relevant, I
Yeah, I
suppose.
mean, like even growing up, I would ask my parents, like, "Was the Millennium Party for you like really intense or whatever?" And like, yeah,
Right.
well, it was.
Yeah.
It's New Year's.
Yeah. Was that 1999? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Now, I
uh,
mean, I do know though. It was interesting to sort of make it a problem for time travel because it was a massive problem for computing. I mean, I don't know the details, but a lot of computing systems that had been created in the 80s or whatever, quite short-sightedly, had only been able to had only been programmed to manage dates up until 1999, and as soon as
yeah,
you change it over to 2000, they like completely went haywire. And these were like banking systems and stuff, so
yeah,
they, and you know, people had fixed it by the time 2000 came up, but people were worried that like the moment the clock strikes midnight, suddenly everyone's going to be able to access your money, civilization is going to fall apart and everything because it's going to be this whole computer thing. So it was interesting to sort of make it a potential nick point for time as well.
yeah.
Sort of like, oh no, you know, even though it's a human construct, it's just like, no, but this is a big deal, right?
It's
It's
like
fun, I
the.
suppose.
It's like I've brought this up before, but it's like Captain Kirk giving the computer a paradox, and then it just it like short circuits and explodes or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not even like a bad paradox. It's just like a,
Yeah,
you know,
um, yeah. But the TARDIS is. materializing in Chinatown in San Francisco, and there's
I mean, I think another classic Doctor Who thing, right? It's like, oh no, it crash lands out of all of time and space onto Earth, right? And I mean, at least it wasn't Britain for a change, London, but it was still like, oh, he's crash landed and he happens to be on Earth. Well, that's rather nice.
But I'm fine with that, because like you can just like we know that the TARDIS is conscious in a way,
yes,
and tends and like tries to take the Doctor to pockets of danger, right? That's a thing that's established, right?
It's sort of it knows where he needs to be.
Yeah.
And right,
it's just it's TV. The Doctor needs to be where he needs to be for
exactly. Yeah, it's fine. I don't want him to crash on some random planet somewhere. Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah. And there's a young Chinese boy, Lee, who's on the run from gangsters, and they chase him off, and then some other gangsters turn up, and just when the Doctor leaves the TARDIS, he gets shot, and I'm like, what? Like, so like this is, I get that the seventh Doctor needs to be mortally wounded,
yes,
to get to the eighth Doctor. That's how this works. But like getting shot by a random gang is like unbecoming.
Feels too small. Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Unbecoming for Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And I can just imagine like an overweight producer just showing on set, like smoking a cigar, like, we need action.
Yeah.
Get some
in the beginning of the film. Yeah.
Yeah. It just feels so like contrived and shoved in there.
And it's sort of like, oh, we just need him to die, so just figure out, just shoot him, right? So it's like,
but why not?
I'm not going to bother thinking of something more complicated.
Yeah, but why not have the seventh Doctor be mortally wounded by the Master, who is the ultimate threat of the story, so that when the eighth Doctor goes up against him, you feel the peril, because
you already know that he's an actual threat. Yeah, no, for sure.
But you gotta have some action, so whatever.
Yeah.
So Lee is taking the Doctor to the hospital. And they're in an ambulance, and he puts his name down as John Smith or whatever. And the ambulance, the paramedic is like, just put any name down or whatever. It's like, well, you should actually put down John Doe, right? Not John Smith, because there's like procedures for John Does. Right.
Yeah.
There's like a
they even talk
legal
about
process.
It later. Yeah.
It's like a legal process that you have to do when there's a John Doe who's been shot or whatever. I thought that was.
Although, I mean, I suppose he wouldn't know that, but then again, the paramedic should tell him
exactly.
to do that, right? Yeah.
Exactly. But it's trying to set up a link between.
Exactly. As a fan, you're like, oh, John Smith. Hey, I know who that is. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So a doctor, an actual doctor, is on call, and she's called from the opera.
I was like,
gown.
Surely if you're on call, you don't go to the opera, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know what doctor. TV. Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Yeah, but I was like, okay, whatever,
although, like, I was talking to a friend who is in a relationship with a doctor, right? And this doctor, when on call, is like only like once a month is actually woken up, and even then it's just like woken up for a question from a nurse, right? So it's not that common.
Right.
And also, like, if you're an opera fan and Madame Butterfly is on, you'll take the chance, right?
You say, oh, it never happens, I'll just go to the opera. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
But it's just a way to get her in a pretty dress or something, I suppose, right?
Yes. And to show that she has a life and a boyfriend that she has to leave in the middle.
It was Brian, right?
Yeah, something like that. Absolute. Yeah. You're what a loser. I mean, you're
is dating a doctor who leaves because she's on call, and it's like, that's it, I'm breaking up with you.
Takes the couch and everything.
Loser. Yeah. Also, you're dating a doctor, a surgeon. Do you know how much money they make? Like, come on, dude. Like, stick around. She's called in, and they have this surgery where it's just nuts. Like, wait, there's 2 heartbeats, or double exposure on the X-rays, and
I mean, also, I was thinking, 2 hearts on an X-ray. I mean, I don't know exactly how that works, but can you see a heart on an X-ray?
I don't know.
I wouldn't have thought so, but I was like, all right, cool. There's hearts on the X-ray.
Yeah, but I'm like when you watch a medical drama, like you can they might not be that accurate, but they're always checking like for cancerous tumors on X-rays and stuff. It's not just bones. I think
I suppose. I mean, that's what I don't know. I
we're
don't
not
know. I'm not.
doctors.
I'm not a doctor. Yeah,
No,
no, definitely.
but like you, obviously that the doctor has different anatomy has to be
Yes.
brought into like a hospital scene. Of course, like you have to play around
Yes.
with that.
Yeah.
That's fun, and you know.
Exactly, and also for new viewers, as the pilot
Yes,
episode, you have to
exactly.
be like, this is
Establish.
he's not just a human, even though he looks human. He's
Yeah,
actually all weird and
he
different. Yeah.
is an alien. Yeah, you do have to get that established. Indeed. Um, I don't know. Did you enjoy the surgery scene? I thought it was like pretty good fun. I liked it jumping
Yeah.
around and
Exactly. I mean, it. Yeah, I think it was interesting because I was also like, you sort of know what's going to happen. They're going to find these. It's like, oh no, it can't possibly be two hearts. It's just a double exposure, and then
yeah,
oh my god, it is two hearts, and then sort of you know what's coming as a fan. So yeah, it was fun, I suppose.
yeah. But he dies and is taken to the morgue, and at that point, the Doctor Holloway is talking with Lee and like, oh, she susses him up pretty quickly that he doesn't actually
Yeah.
know him, but he takes his effects because he's like a petty criminal or whatever, and he runs off. And I don't know if you noticed this, but she's like, somebody stop him! She like screams down the hallway, and there one of the extras in that scene is in like law enforcement clothing, a uniform, but
Oh.
looks at her, looks at Lee running off, and then just continues walking down the hallway and doesn't chase after him. I'm not one to nitpick this deeply,
Yeah.
but that is pretty
At least sort of
glaring.
like get into a crouching position, like, oh no, I've just missed him or something, like,
Or
yeah.
don't put him in the security getup.
Yeah.
Like that is
Right. Yeah.
like you're in hospital, just have him in scrubs or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. No, I
yeah.
didn't notice that at all.
Yeah. But so we're in the morgue, um, and there's a guy, whatever his job is, he's working the morgue at night, and I've written down in my notes while watching Frankenstein in a morgue is asking for trouble.
That's
You're just
exactly what I
begging
wrote
for
as
it.
well. Yeah, I was like, dude, what are you doing? You don't watch Frankenstein. I mean, come on. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, got to do the late shift here by yourself in the morgue. I would never tempt fate like that. Never.
Yeah, but they're also like cutting between Frankenstein, the 1931 film,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the Regeneration, and like trying to draw some link there, but it's quite. I mean, thematically, they don't make apart from
Yeah.
reanimation, they don't really link in any way.
No, exactly. I mean, that's why sort of, also obviously we are used to as Doctor Who fans that the regeneration never necessarily looks the same every time, right?
Yeah,
We've got various different ways of that happening, but here they made it. They gave it like all this electricity and stuff, and they tried to make it seem like this sinister sort of thing. So I think that was sort of a creative direction that they were taking. They were like, we're going to make this more like it is reanimation rather than regeneration, right? It's like he does actually die and then come back to life rather than just continue living. I think they were
right.
sort of they were like, no, we're going to change this going forward.
Yeah, and I guess milking some drama for new viewers, I guess as
Yes,
well.
I reckon. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and a weakened Eighth Doctor kicks down the door from the inside,
Yeah.
and is like holding a blanket and like shivering, and like, okay, he definitely did not have that much strength to do that, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's shocking and scary and terrifying, and now he's running around and he has amnesia.
Yeah, and I mean, I just want to say it was really bugging me. The very first thing I would do is take the bloody tag off my toe. I wouldn't be able to take a
Oh
single step
yes,
with the tag on my toe. I'd
yeah,
be so irritated by it. But he like walks around for half an hour or something. I mean, he has like a nap and like everything,
yeah.
gets clothes and everything, and doesn't take the tag off of his toe. I was like, dude.
Yeah, and the getting clothes. There was a scarf there. He
Yes,
finds a bag of
indeed.
He finds a bag of jelly babies. Another reference. Um, yeah, and then he's um, meeting up with Dr. Holloway. And see, I'm already like the fog is like setting in of my memory of this,
Yes,
because like
yeah,
why have they linked up again? But so
yeah.
he's just like, I'm different, or but I'm amnesia. You have to help me remember, or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think he's got like a snippet of memory where he remembers her
Yeah.
face
Okay.
and the classical music or something, and he's
Yeah.
like, "You
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
there, and they were playing this song or whatever."
Yeah.
And yeah, sort of harasses her a little bit, I suppose.
Yeah. And meanwhile, the Cobra ooze that is the master has
Mm,
taken over the body of Bruce. I question mark the paramedic. Not sure if
yeah,
that name's right. That feels right. Bruce the
might be.
paramedic, and he wakes up with like these horrible green eyes, like showing how monstrous he is. Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, just like make him like physically monstrous instead of like having him do actions that are abhorrent, and then
Right,
you start
yeah.
to
No.
hate him.
Exactly. I mean, also as I've already said, like, there's no. I don't think there's any reference elsewhere in Doctor Who that he's got anything snake-like about him. It's almost like Voldemort.
Exactly, that's what I was
Like
wondering.
suddenly he's
Yeah,
got snake eyes and he's a snake and everything. And I'm like, okay, so they've just decided to make him snake-like
yeah,
uh, for some reason. Also, an excuse to get him in sunglasses for half of the movie, right? Make him look cool.
yeah, yeah. Um, but so the master is in someone else's body, right?
Yeah.
So I'm checking that we're
Yes.
on the same page here. So he's in someone
Yes.
else's
And
body, and he needs
inside a
to
human
get.
body,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
he's in a human body, and he wants to take over the doctor's body.
Yeah.
Right now, that is the plot going forward. Am I right?
Yes. I think so. Yes. Yeah. Because he
Okay.
wants to now get back into a Time Lord body, because I think they said he's used up all of his regenerations, right? So he was on his last one.
Yeah, this
Um,
drives me absolutely insane. The 13 regenerations, the 13 lives thing.
right. Yeah.
So specifically with New Who, just ignore it.
Yeah. Completely. Yeah. You don't have to keep coming with like explanations for it. Just be like,
I
oh,
don't
we
care.
thought it was 13, but it isn't.
Yeah, just don't
Yeah.
even mention it. Then
Yeah.
timeless child nonsense, like all of that stuff. I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
really don't care about that, because
Yeah.
we've signed up for this show, or the premise that the actor is going to change, and we're going to get new iterations, and
Exactly.
it's going to evolve over time. That is the contract we've signed. Like, I want more than 13, so you don't need to explain to me
Yes.
how to get there. Just do it.
It's
I'm not going
fine.
to
I
get
will
pissed
go
off
with
when
it.
there's a 14th doctor,
Yes.
right?
I will go with it. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just
I mean,
whenever I hear it, it like actually like grates.
yeah, because I think I remember hearing at some stage that the idea to give him those was because there are 12 hours on a clock, right? So it's like each
Right.
hour is a regeneration for him. So that because he's a Time Lord and whatever. But like, okay, cool, great idea. But now we've gotten to the point where that no longer applies. So, just be like, but the clock never stops, right? Now once it gets to 12, it carries on.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm down for that.
Yeah. It's just,
Or it's actually a 24-hour day, so it's 2 cycles. Oh, now that gives you another 50 years before you have to worry about it.
yeah. And then the master's talking about like, well, he stole some of my regenerations or stuff like that, and
I think most of that was supposed to be lies, right? I mean, because
yeah,
he
to
sort of
convince
told
Lee,
it
right?
to Lee, so he was like, no, he stole them and whatever, because he was trying to pretend that he was the good guy and that the doctor had robbed him of stuff. So I think most of that was nonsense. I think
Yeah.
it was supposed to be nonsense.
Yeah. And speaking of Lee, he has now the Seventh Doctor's effects, including the key to the TARDIS,
Yes.
which he then enters, and we get a nice bigger on the inside moment.
Well,
First
he
of
didn't
all,
say it though, right? I mean, I was waiting for it, but he
but
never
I
said
think
like
that's isn't
it's
that a
bigger
New
on the
Who thing?
inside.
That's
Oh,
a
is
New Who
it?
thing. I feel like in
Oh,
the
maybe it is.
like the later, um maybe from like Clara onwards, they try to make it a point. That feels like no.
No, but I mean they
Clara is the one who says smaller on the outside.
exactly that it was definitely a thing. I mean, with Rose and Donna and all of them, they would all
Right.
say it. And then by the time it was Clara, it was like old. They were like,
Yeah.
okay,
Then
now we've got to like start switching it
yeah.
up. I don't know if it was a. I mean, obviously people reacted to it in Classic Who, but yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was a phrase. So that's a
Yeah.
good point. Maybe it wasn't. Yeah, because I was waiting for it. I was like, he's going to be like, oh, it's bigger on the
But
inside.
he's also
But
by himself. Like, I don't talk out loud to myself. I wouldn't.
oh, I do absolutely. I would definitely be like, oh, it's bigger on the inside.
The only time I'm speaking to myself is when I'm like stubbing my toe or something. Like, idiot!
Oh,
You're
right,
such
yeah.
a moron, or stuff like that. But yeah, so he's poking around the TARDIS, and the Master is already there.
Yeah, I mean, so I also want to, talk about the TARDIS in general. So, I mean, firstly, the TARDIS interior, I think it's very close to being one of my favorites. I mean, you've got your
Okay.
background as I think that's Matt Smith's interior before.
Yeah, this is kind of
Capaldi.
Capaldi, Matt Smith. I think they
Exactly.
had the same one, but they were lit differently.
And Capaldi then started. He had like bookshelves and grandfather clocks and stuff in
he
it
was
and everything.
like Professor. Yeah,
Exactly. And I mean, I've always loved that. It's always been a thing in TARDIS interiors that you've got this very sci-fi sort of interior, but then you've got these like vintage pieces, right? So, I mean, even the original Doctor had like, I think he had a hat stand and like a chair or something, which was very out of place, right? So I think this TARDIS sort of flipped that a little bit, where it made most of the interior all vintage looking, and then it had like a few sci-fi things inside it, and I love that sort of switch because it was sort of, it feels steampunk for me almost, right? It's sort of like this old school, and Grace even says at some stage like, this feels low tech. So I mean, I struggle to point to a favorite TARDIS interior. I do love Capaldi's. His is probably the highest in contention. I also loved Gatwa's recent one, but I think if this one had a few more screen appearances, it would have been one of my favorites. I love the oak paneled console and the brass and the raw iron and everything. I love that sort of the interior. Yeah.
Can I throw in? I have two that I really love. I love the recreation of the first Doctor's one in the Christmas special that he was in.
Yes,
the recent one.
I love that as well. Yeah,
and the Fugitive Doctor's TARDIS.
Okay,
I don't know if you can picture it. If you can't, then look it up after or something. I really like that one because it is like wonderfully old school, but feels modern.
Is it similar to Jodie Whittaker's one?
I don't know, but I think it's like the console that like has a cylinder.
Yes. Okay, I've just searched it. Yeah. No, it's because it's quite old school. It looks like the original TARDIS interiors, but it's sort of different. Yeah, no, I like that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but
lots of round things.
I'm with you that Capaldi is probably my favorite because I love how lived in it is.
Capaldi's is probably my favorite, but this is the only one that gives it like serious contention for me. I did like I think it was also, I mean, I'm not sure about this, but previously, the consoles didn't have like a connection through the entire, like from floor to ceiling. They just had the thing rising up and down. Whereas I love that sort of connection from floor to ceiling. I imagine this thing going through the length of the TARDIS, right? This central energy core or whatever that just goes all the way up and down. And I think this was a sort of first instance of that, with that cage coming around the top of it. So and then we also go later into the cloister room for the first time and everything, and all of that, where it sort of feels like this cathedral, right? And there's leaves in the TARDIS and everything. I just love this TARDIS interior.
I'm now wondering, is this the first time we've ventured into other rooms? Because they're always like, I don't even know if this is like a real thing, but I can imagine like a companion like coming out with a towel and they're like wiping themselves, like, oh, great swim in the pool today or whatever.
I think that happens at some stage.
But we never see the other rooms. Have we seen them in New Who?
We haven't seen exact rooms. I know that there's one stage, I think it's in the Regeneration, the Christmas episode, where we first see David Tennant, where he first dresses up. We see him in like the wardrobe room.
Right.
And we see it's sort of like open to a staircase or something. So we see a different part of the TARDIS there. And
Yeah.
then there's also an episode with Matt Smith, I think, Journey to the Center of the TARDIS, where they go
Yeah.
into a few other rooms and we see corridors and stuff. We never really go into, at least in New Who, we don't go into like a specific room and stay there. So we definitely haven't been to like the cloister room, for example,
Right.
in New Who. We
Yeah.
always hear about the cloister, when it goes red and goes dong, dong, dong or whatever, but we've never been there. So,
yeah. Because this is when the Master is taking Lee around and showing, and then we go to the Eye of Harmony.
Yeah.
Which is nice. It's a charming looking kind of rinky dink hand built set. I mean, you can when it's moving, you can kind of feel the shortcomings of the construction of it a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
But like, so it needs a human retina scan or something to open. What is going on here?
Well, I mean, so the reason I started speaking about all of
help
this,
me.
Yeah, because you were saying the Master's already in the TARDIS, right? Yeah. How the hell did that happen?
Yeah.
Especially because then after that, he doesn't want to touch anything because he's like, no, the TARDIS likes you, Lee. It doesn't like me. So
if the
we
TARDIS
get the sense
doesn't
that
like you, you're like,
how did it let you in, right? Yeah. So I was like, why are you inside? He could have been like lurking in the alleyway, and then when Lee opens the door, then he enters with him,
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't understand why he was inside the TARDIS to begin with.
Yeah.
And then the whole, the human retina thing, and then drops the line, the Doctor is half human, and I'm like, no.
We don't even know at this point what the Doctor is.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm quite surprised actually that New Who considers this canon, right? Like I would have thought it's better to say no, okay, the Eighth Doctor didn't exist. Christopher Eccleston is the Eighth Doctor, right? So we go straight from McCoy to Eccleston. I don't understand why they would have kept this as a creative choice, right? Because I think a lot of the stuff that happens here.
Well, McCoy is already in this, right? So, like, this is connected to Classic Who.
Okay, I suppose. Yeah.
Right.
But
So
what I'm saying is, you could just say no, but this whole movie doesn't exist, right? Like we are not counting this movie. We are going from the end of Classic Who.
But I think like they don't count it. Like they don't bring up the half human thing.
No,
at all.
That's
right?
That's it. They count it, but they don't use the things that were done in the movie.
Yeah, but that's exactly what my point is about the 13 lives thing. Is like just ignore it. Like just don't do it.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure.
Because the only people, the only people you're going to piss off is like, Reddit users who are going to be like, well, actually, in the Sixth Doctor episode, they mentioned.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't, and it's like, do you care what those people think, right?
Yeah. There's always going to be, especially with something like Doctor Who, they're going to be like, well, actually, in the 1973 comic book audio drama or something. Yeah.
But this is like getting to the point of my biggest bugbear with like Doctor as a whole. I think is like the canon just like throw it out the window for this thing. It's all about the stories. Go and make horror stories, sci-fi stories, tell the stories, and just have the Doctor be an agent in them, not the main character of a story that just doesn't work.
And I mean, he's a mystery, right? He's Doctor Who, right?
Yeah,
we don't know who he is. So you can keep being like, oh no, well, actually this, or actually that wasn't so true. It's just something I said, right? Like he's mysterious. So it's always like, we don't actually know. We think we know who the Time Lords are and who the Doctor is and everything, but actually we don't. We are being fed a story by him. He's created his own character and he enjoys the fact that no one knows exactly who he is.
Yeah.
So you've literally got license there to ignore stuff. Yeah, you're right. You can just be like, no, well, actually, the Doctor is more mysterious than you ever imagined.
Yeah, but it's just like I think just like the storytelling is bad generally when you go that way. I mean, there are times it's proven me wrong. I think the whole time war, the waste of the time war on the character going up to Day of the Doctor, I think is brilliant. I think it's a brilliant addition to the character and perfect for the modern era of TV that it was coming up in. Like you needed like a genuine character through line, I think, that really worked.
Yeah.
The Capaldi solo episode, Heaven Sent, I think it was called.
Yes. Yes.
That is a brilliant one, but to position like Time Lord politics and the Doctor's past as like the center of everything, it just doesn't work. It's not
No.
interesting. I just want to say, well, like a complete side note about the TARDIS. One of my favorite things in Doctor that I've seen is it's a third Doctor episode. I believe it's Terror of the Autons,
Okay.
and it's the Master, the Roger Delgado Master. His TARDIS is materializing in like a caravan holiday park, and because his TARDIS's camouflage circuits are not broken, it materializes as a caravan. I was like,
Oh,
oh, seeing a
beautiful.
TARDIS in action as it's supposed to be was like,
Yes. Okay. Nice.
yeah,
As a
that
caravan. That's cool.
yeah, that tickled my like nerd brain. Like, okay, I got
Yeah.
to see it
Yeah.
how it's supposed to be. Yeah,
Yeah.
but so we're at the Eye of Harmony,
Right.
right? And this is a thing that is needed to have the Master swap bodies with the Doctor, or to steal his body. Am I right?
I mean, I don't think that's his primary purpose, but he's going to use
what
it
he
for
needs,
that, yeah.
right? It's what he needs.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, you said like you didn't remember the back half of this film from your first viewing.
Yes.
I had moments like from here watch onwards, and I would like kind of lock in. I'd be like, "Wait, what just happened?" And I was
No,
staring at
yeah.
the screen the whole time. And
Yeah, there were points where
yeah,
I had to rewind as well and be like, I wasn't paying attention. Sorry, I need to watch that again. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like when that happens, I don't rewind because it's like, no, that reaction is authentic for the podcast, right?
Yes,
I would rather have me not remembering and have that be an indictment on the product than
yeah. And if neither of us remember that, then
exactly.
Cool. That's authentic.
Then it's their fault,
Yes, exactly.
But once the Eye of Harmony is opened, I had one more thing to say. Sorry, I did like the positioning of Lee as the Master's companion. I like the idea of the Master having a human companion as an inverse to the Doctor, right? I thought,
yes,
if they had gone through with this show, that might have been something that we had seen, or something that was played out, and that would have been fun.
I think so. I think that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
To see that he is, it sort of makes him seem as influential as the Doctor, right? Because we used to seeing the Master in isolation, like as this complete lunatic who no one stands by. Whereas if he's able to convince people and manipulate them and get them to follow him as well, it makes him more threatening.
Yeah, and if a classic Who expert is like screaming at us right now that this actually happened, please like tell us what those episodes are, because I want to watch them.
Yes.
Yeah. So once the Eye of Harmony is opened, the Doctor remembers himself. He like snaps awake, and he remembers the plot as well, what he has to do. Right. So he needs to stop all this. He needs to get a beryllium atomic clock before midnight, or else Earth will be sucked into the Eye of Harmony.
Yeah.
And reality is already starting to like bend. He's doing like Matrix kind of things where he's like altering the glass or whatever, like the molecular structure or whatever.
Yeah.
Sure.
We just have to go with that, right? We're like, all right, cool. Yeah. Because he also, he didn't mention this or utilize it or anything before he was locked out. Suddenly he was like, oh no, but this is the thing as well, look at the glass. Before then he was just like, oh yeah, no, the eye's open and it's a problem. And then suddenly he's like, oh yes, I remembered, I can walk through the glass. Yeah.
But all of this stuff it's a really nice showcase for Paul McGann. I really enjoy the way he like pitched his performances. He's got everything that we enjoy in a great Doctor portrayal. It's like his mind is just racing so much faster than we can keep up with.
Exactly.
He's got that like real wisdom of so many centuries of life, but also like still deep curiosity.
And whimsy, right?
Yeah,
He already has
whimsy
some
is
of
always,
that whimsy,
yeah. And
where
it's
he
like
sort
the
of
percentages of those attributes like
yes,
defines a doctor's performance relative to the
yes,
others, right?
yes, yeah.
I mean, like my favorite Shooty Gatwa moment is when he turned around to look at the Midnight Monster. Just that
Okay,
moment, because
yeah,
it's like that is a perfect like doctor moment. You know,
right,
the curiosity. Um, you
right,
know,
yes.
that's that kind of stuff, and
It's like that's exactly who he is. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and you know, I'm just at that point I'm watching, I'm thinking, man, he this is a really good performance, and we should have got more from
We should have
him.
got more from him. Yeah.
And you know, we got the Night of the Doctor, that little short film, which I think is
Mm.
brilliant. I
Yes, I also
really
think
love
so.
it.
Yeah.
I think his performance in that is also like just he has like 4 minutes or whatever in it. I think it's like
Yeah,
stunning
and
work.
he obviously is older at the time,
Yeah.
but his doctor you can see has also gone through stuff. Like by
Yes.
then, he's a far more serious and like he realizes the stakes and stuff, right? So
Yeah.
it's a different doctor. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like there's a lot of stuff on the internet about a potential spin-off
Ah,
where there, you know, people saying like, oh, you know, I don't think that there was ever a serious discussion about it happening, but I think
right. Yeah.
a lot of people trying to manifest a spin-off of it, and you can imagine like a mini series, like a 6-part mini
Yes.
series or something, just you know, the Eighth Doctor adventures, and
Ah, I
just
mean, I could do that.
get a few
I mean,
stories out of
I
him.
know
I
that
would
he's
love it.
done. Yeah, I know that he's done a lot of audio dramas, right?
Yeah, but
He
that's not for
so
me. It's just not for me.
exactly. I mean, I think I've maybe listened to one at some stage, not from McGann, but from someone else. But also, that's sort of supplemental. It's not main Doctor Who, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I don't know. I have so much trouble keeping up with everything: movies, TV,
Yeah.
literature. It's like I'm not going to add audio
No.
dramas to my
That's like
to
if
my
Doctor Who's
roster.
the only thing that you watch, right? Then you can look at the
Exactly,
audios and the
exactly.
comics and all of
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
and with how little of it there's been in the last 10 years, like you know, you need
Yeah.
something to get you through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back to the film. They're racing off to this ceremony where they're uh, I guess, turning on an atomic clock, right? This new
Yeah.
perfect standard for, you know, what would become San Francisco mean time.
Mm.
And it's cutting, you know, they're on a motorcycle racing through the streets, and they're cutting to, you know, the motorcycle, and you don't see anyone on it, you know, with a face. You just see the bike going really fast, and then you cut to Paul McGann and Daphne Ashbrook going really slowly. um, I thought it was just like, it's like old Star Trek when you see the stunt double of
Yeah.
Shatner. It's like, you know, hide it
Right.
better.
I mean, I think it worked on me, right? Because I didn't specifically pick that up.
Yeah,
I can sort of imagine what you're saying now, but I didn't like when they got to the slow shot, be like, oh, huh. I was immersed, right? So
right.
they managed to trick me. Yeah.
I mean, it is nice. It does feel a little bit filler to have like a bike chase out of
Yeah.
nowhere, I guess.
Yeah.
And I wanted to note the music is, I found it really overbearing at this point.
Oh, okay.
And also every time that the master like turned around and he had his green eyes, the music would like blare. I was like, Jesus,
Yes.
relax.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like he's already got green eyes. Yeah. We get it. Yeah.
There's like this really big musical sting every time, really annoying.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they go to this ceremony, and I enjoyed the one security guy there who just had no sense of humor
Yes, yeah. I love him
whatsoever.
as well. When then later he gets like the streamers on him
Yes,
and everything.
and I was thinking at that
hosed
point,
myself.
this guy better be getting like double pay or something at like the
Yeah,
Millennium New Year's Eve, and he's
absolutely.
working. Like he better be getting good pay for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're running around with the at the atomic clock thing, trying to get it or whatever, and they find like people that are like petrified or whatever by the Master's ooze.
Oh yes, I mean when that happened, I was like, they've been slimed.
Is that have we seen that before? I don't remember.
No. I mean, I was thinking of Ghostbusters, right? I was like slimed.
Oh,
but,
right.
Yeah, no. I think that's just a completely new thing.
Yeah, and quickly forgotten, I guess.
Yes, yeah. It's just like, all right, cool. Now they petrified and slimy.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and I'm looking at our notes, and the next thing says confrontation in the TARDIS. I don't know how they get there from the ceremony. Are they on the bikes again? I don't know, but they're there.
It was probably filmed out of sequence.
They're there, and Dr. Holloway is now turned somehow. Like the Master kisses her, and then she switches, and
oh yeah,
because her human eyes open the Eye of Harmony. I'm struggling with this.
That's later.
Struggling.
She gets like unturned so that her human eyes can open it. But yeah, somehow. Oh yes, she
does. And then that's when the Doctor's screaming like, "Don't open your eyes."
Yes, yeah. And no, I think she gets turned. The Doctor tells her to flick a switch, and then I don't know. After she flicks the switch, suddenly she's turned. So like I sort of thought that maybe the Master had, because he was in the TARDIS, he'd set a trap or whatever. Like when you flick the switch, she gets turned or something. I don't know. Somehow Palpatine returned, and somehow she got turned. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you was like, I was not remembering anything you were saying. I watched this a day ago. That's shocking. What? Yeah. Is my brain okay? You see, or
it was messy, right? I mean,
it was messy.
Said it already.
Exactly.
There was a lot of stuff going on. Obviously,
I was already like disinterested in it at that point.
Yeah,
mentally, I'm like checking the runtime at that point. Right?
No, I mean that's why I said the second half of the film I didn't really remember. It was sort of since I think I remembered up until where Paul McGann remembers who he is.
Yeah.
Right. I love that scene outside by like the fountains or whatever, where he's like, I come from Gallifrey and whatever, and he's going all insane. And then after that, I'm like, oh yeah. And then the rest of the movie happens.
Well, that stuff is that first half is absolutely stronger than the second half.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Afterwards, it's just for like, okay, cool. Now just wrapping up. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was the confrontation, and the Doctor is tied up and screaming at everyone to do stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
And I guess the day is saved. I don't even remember how that happens.
Yeah. The day is saved, exactly. Something happens, and then he breaks free of his laser eye surgery mechanism thing. And,
again, this is an indictment on the film and not on my memory. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. You know that things are going on, and when you're watching it, you're like, okay, cool, action. But yeah.
And I think Grace like flips a switch or a lever like right at the exact moment before the stroke of midnight, and everything is fine, but the Doctor has to go back in time a little bit to undo some of the damage.
Something like that, yeah.
Right. But
because I think the Master falls into the Eye of Harmony at some stage, right? Or he gets sucked into it or something.
Yes.
And that's how he sort of dies, in inverted commas. And then that now they go back in time or whatever, but obviously he's probably removed from that time, because surely if you go back in time then he's there as well, but yeah, whatever.
But that's like a thing that Doctor Who never does. It's like use time travel within the story, right? They always use time travel to get to the beginning of the story, right? They go to Pompeii or whatever, right? That's the thing. Like we use time travel to get to any point in history we want, and then we have, we can have our nice adventure. But the Doctor is never like using time travel to go back 5 minutes and save poor Billy or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So I feel like that was a little bit of like a kind of like, I don't know. I was like, we don't do that here. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And they like went back in time to save the companions or whatever. But it was sort of, they already got saved by like the energy from the Eye of Harmony or whatever. You could have just made some other reason up for like, oh no, everything now that the Master's done is discounted or whatever, because he's removed from time or something, right? Like come up with some other sort of reason rather than going back in time.
Yeah, but wasn't it like maybe like the damage was a little bit too extensive to Earth that they had to go back?
Something like that.
Oof.
I think so,
Yeah.
But I mean, so this is sort of probably around the point in this story where a very interesting term comes up, which I want to talk about. And that is a temporal orbit, which immediately captured my attention because I'm like, because I think did I write it down? I think they said something like, what I think, it says going into temporal orbit, and Grace is like, what's a temporal orbit? And I was like, indeed, what is a temporal orbit? Because, I mean, if you think about space, right, we've got 3 dimensions of space, X, Y, and Z. But time, there's only one dimension, right? T. You can only go, we only go forward in time, and you can imagine now going backwards in time. But you can't go sideways in time, okay? And an orbit, sort of by definition, requires at least 2 dimensions. So if you're going into a temporal orbit, you are implying the existence of a higher dimension of time, multi-dimensional time, which, sort of hoping that not too many physicists are actually listening to this, because I'm about to get into some speculative stuff, which is probably wrong. But I mean, you remember from the days of your youth, Julian, imaginary numbers, I'm sure.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that was a breaking point in the maths bachelor. When we were, I still have over there, like right there across the room, I have my complex analysis textbook.
There we go.
Which that probably was the breaking point for me.
So, right. So I mean,
old friend, the idea,
exactly. So the idea of imaginary numbers is that we, just for the sake of simplicity, is we imagine that we have one dimension of time, one dimension of space, and then a parallel dimension of space, which doesn't really exist in real space, right? It goes perpendicular to real space. We have imaginary space. And so this gets me thinking of perhaps that this is imaginary time, which is something that Stephen Hawking was involved in a lot of the sort of imaginary time stuff. He always he said that he wanted to see science fiction playing with imaginary time, because imaginary time in physics is sort of a mathematical trick that is used to simplify calculations. So it's not supposed to be a real life thing. We're not supposed to imagine that there is actually this extra dimension of time. It's just something that we hold in our heads, and once we've simplified the equations, we forget about it.
Yeah.
But I've always been obsessed with trying to find a physical intuition for imaginary time. And this temporal orbit suggests that. So if you have like a 2-dimensional axis, a 2-dimensional plane with time, and you have a temporal orbit, what you would see in real time is going backwards and forwards in time, but you're actually orbiting in imaginary time. So you're stepping out of the real time axis, going sideways and orbiting, and then coming back into the real time axis at a later point, and then going backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards, which reminds me of Primer, actually.
Right. Yeah.
I'm now thinking backwards, and like, oh, maybe that was imaginary time as well. But I mean, I sort of like the implication of this, that maybe, because we never really get told about how the TARDIS works and how it travels. But apart from a few instances, it normally sort of disappears in one point in space-time and reappears out of nowhere in space-time. So I tend to assume that it travels in higher dimensions, right? So when it's in the time vortex, for example,
yeah, but the time vortex, that takes time, like experience time for the passengers, like they are experiencing travel.
Yes.
In between dematerializing and materializing, right?
Yes.
Which would, I mean, if there's no time travel, is like instant, right?
No, not necessarily, because if you so this is the whole idea of a temporal orbit, because I think they've accidentally explained a whole lot of these sort of questions. Because if you are coming out of a point in time and orbiting an imaginary time and then entering at another point in time, you are still, if you think about an X and Y plane, if you're traveling in a circle, both your X coordinate and your Y coordinate are changing.
Yeah.
But at certain points in time, the X will be changing more than the Y, and at another point, the y will be changing more than the x, right? So when you're traveling fastest in imaginary time, you're traveling slowest in ordinary time. So you would still experience a passage of time, but you would appear and it would to an outside observer.
Yeah,
right?
I've almost got it. I
hope
there.
I'm sort of.
Yeah.
I can. It's difficult to do it without a diagram, right?
Yeah.
But like if you're standing back and you're watching the TARDIS disappear at a forward point in time and reappear at a later point in time, it would still be traveling through time, but you wouldn't see it traveling, right? You wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's not like you would see it traveling in ordinary time because it's stepped out of it.
Everything is observers. It's the whole observing is the whole backbone of all the physics problems, right? Like
exactly, yeah. So I mean, it's difficult to sort of. This is very speculative, right? That's why, as I said, if any physicist is watching to this, they're probably like, "Well, that's not how imaginary time works." And my answer is yes, I know.
But this is why like you're doing so well on the pod. I feel it's like you're not actually shitting on things for the sake of shitting on things. You're like, no, I'm gonna try and make this work.
I try and make it work
because like with Akira is like, okay, there's telekinesis, but like you explained it as like, no, he's breaking down protons and releasing like massive energy. I was like,
yes, I remember
jury rigging it all to work. That's
as soon as temporal orbit came up, I was like, okay, I need to think about this, right? Like what is a temporal orbit, right? And I mean, this is what I've come up with. That extra dimension in time doesn't necessarily have to be imaginary time, but the reason I bring it up is that this is already something that appears in certain physics calculations. I remember doing it in some of my quantum mechanics courses.
Yeah,
where it's a thing that they introduce to simplify an equation, and once the equation's simplified, we forget about it again. So it's not a real thing. But I mean, something like a particle in physics was also that at some stage. Max Planck introduced particles to simplify the equations. He never imagined that these were real things. It turns out they are, right? So a lot of the time, another example of that is tachyons, all right? Which was, I think, in our very first episode. It's something that was introduced to sort of explain something and to speculate about something. And ultimately that was realized to just be a mathematical trick that doesn't really give us anything. But sometimes these mathematical tricks do give us things. And I think that by dropping that word, temporal orbit, they've potentially offered an explanation for a lot of the mechanics of how the TARDIS works.
They've not offered it. They've like fallen ass backwards into.
Well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I have grabbed on it with both hands.
Yeah, like an obsessed freak who can like just try to like. I need to make it make sense.
That's exactly what I did.
No, I'm like 70. I can get the kind of observer difference now.
Yeah,
right? That's
right.
Yeah, Now I have to transition from that back to the movie. So
yes, let's do it. I think that's all I can say about that. So
it's New Year's Eve again, and we've saved the day, and it's all well and good. And the fireworks are going off, and I think the Doctor shows like some image of space, and it's like one of those like children's textbook images where like all the different like space bodies and phenomena are like all in one page, and like, wow, it's like there's a supernova next to like a comet, and you know, it's all nonsense.
It's just this is space,
yeah. And what I suspected and later confirmed is the first time the Doctor kisses a companion was the end of this film. I did check on that.
Okay.
So that sets a precedent for New Who, which is an aspect of the show that certain people have problems with.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so that
I think
is a nice wrap up.
I reckon he at the time was probably at least one of the youngest Doctors, right? Because I mean, for a long time,
definitely the handsomest.
Yeah, exactly. Right. He was the first time like a doctor might have been appealing to some viewers, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I was looking at the hair and I was thinking like, um, this does make sense for like an era of like Hugh Grant rom-coms,
yes,
like
right.
the aesthetics of the character.
Yeah, right.
So
No, and I mean,
yeah,
you've just reminded me. I mean, do you know the story about the hair with the behind the scenes with the hair?
that it was annoying. I only got that
No,
out of the
no.
research.
So what I think I remember is that when McGann auditioned for the role, he had real long hair like that.
Right.
And
Okay.
he did this whole audition, and they were like, "Yeah, great." And then when he rocked up on the first day of filming, he had a buzz cut. He had it all off, and the director was like, "Nah, this is not going to
That's
work. We want your
terrible.
long hair."
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a wig actually in the film.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a wig because I know that Magana said that it bothered him. I didn't know that it was
All
because he had
right.
a buzz cut underneath.
I mean, I think it's
Damn,
a wig. I haven't
it is
checked
a
my
wig.
facts on this,
It
but
is a wig. Yeah.
right.
But the Ninth Doctor had a buzz cut, so that's all good, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But obviously, the vision that they had for this character, they were like, dude,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
accepted you for who you were, and then come
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that was Doctor Who the movie, and we can talk about our final thoughts on it. I think we've covered a lot, though. We've kind of gone on
Yeah, I
tangents
think
and
so.
everything.
Yes.
But yeah, ultimately, like just the obsession with lore just suffocates the whole thing. For what is supposed to be a
Yeah.
fresh start, right? Fresh start. You got to bring in new
Exactly.
people.
Yeah.
This is alienating new people, right?
Yeah, and I think they tried to make sure that at the end of this movie, you know everything that you need to know about Doctor Who, so that they can go forward, right? Whereas, as we've already mentioned, in actual New Who, we learn this over the course of the first 4 or 5 seasons, and we
Yeah,
still learn things. I mean, they've been bringing back a lot of old characters from classic Who, Sutek and all of that, and I'm like, oh, I've never heard of this, and then I've
but
got to go
that's
and like look back at stuff
yeah,
and
but
and
that
learn
was
things.
another, um, I think, mistake because you know,
Okay.
maybe if we want to now talk a little bit about New Who and just where it is and
Yeah, might as
everything,
well.
because this is our first Doctor Who pod. But when the Disney era started, it was like it wasn't just like, okay, you have all this money now to go do what you want. Part of it was also like you need to grow the brand. You need to get new
Yeah,
people in, and they made
yeah,
the same mistake when you're bringing back the Rani and mentioning the
yeah.
granddaughter
No, you're right.
constantly. It's like
You're right.
this is not going to make people feel. It's going to make people feel like they have to do homework or something. It's like, wait, I don't understand
Exactly.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I mean, especially because they went and called it season one. And then so you're
exactly.
like, okay, cool. I'm going to start a new show on Disney Plus. Never heard of this. Season
Yeah,
one, and then you're like, okay, this isn't season one, right?
yeah,
Like, I'm missing things here. So yeah, no, that's a good point because in Rose they bring back the Autons, which is from Classic Who, but I watched that not knowing about the Autons at all, and it
exactly.
was fine, right? They didn't get into exactly who they are,
Yeah,
whatever. They're just like it's living plastic. Okay, cool, I can go with that. After you get past the bin eating Mickey, I was hooked, right?
but like when they bring back the Rani, and it's like I am the Rani, and then there's a dramatic
Mm, mm,
music, and the camera pushes in or whatever, and it's like most people are gonna be like, wait, who is that? Why
yeah,
why not just introduce a new Time Lord character? Establish that there are no Time Lords out
yeah,
there,
yeah,
and bring in one. That creates drama
yeah,
already. But yeah, it was strange to me that they basically had a second clean slate. This is a
mm,
new clean
mm,
slate for New Who. Get out from the timeless child stuff. Get away from that and forge a new path. And it didn't work. It didn't work. And
yeah,
the Disney partnership is already ended
yeah,
because they had a spin-off show, The War Between the Land and the Sea, I believe it was called, which Disney
yeah,
was
I
like,
haven't
oh,
watched
by the
that.
way,
Yeah.
that counts to your 26 episode deal that we signed, right? So that so
Was that
now
with Shuti Katwa as well?
no, it was like a unit spin-off,
Oh
but it
yes.
was the
Okay.
same
Okay.
continuity.
Right. Right.
Yeah, but it's very tumultuous times. For a long time, it has
Indeed.
felt like for Doctor Who, like we don't know what's
Yes.
happening. When are we getting a new episode? And
Exactly. Because I mean, we had the Chibnall era, which was I was thinking, yo, this is really, I watched it all dutifully, and then it came to an end, and we were all. I mean, I remember being extremely excited that Russell T Davies was coming back. Right. I was
yes,
like, thank God he's coming back. That's how bad it's been. He's going to come and save it.
yeah,
And you were saying, yeah, it needs a new start. But the thing is, he's already done that, right? He's already been there for the new start of Doctor Who. So you can't bring back the same guy to do the same thing again. He's going to want to do something different, right? So I think
yeah,
that was the conflict that was here, is that they needed one thing, they brought back another thing, and those two things were actually contradictory.
yeah. I think you're right there. And there was also, let's say, internal frustrations with Shuti Gatwa,
Yeah.
and he left early.
Yes.
I don't think he planned to leave that early, but he did. And
Yeah,
now
because I mean, his
everything's
seasons were also shorter, right? So I mean, it's not even
yeah,
as if you can't even really say that he's done 2 seasons, because I think it was 8 episodes a season.
yeah.
So I mean,
He
he's
had 8 episodes, and then he was in three. He was in one special, and he had two Christmas specials. So
okay, yeah. But I mean,
19. Yeah,
16 episodes of like actual episodes.
yeah,
The original series, series one in 2005 or whatever had 13, I think.
hmm,
So he's done one season plus 3.
yeah,
That's actually what he's done, right? So I mean, he's had an extremely short run as the Doctor.
yeah. But it spanned 3 years, and
Oh,
still
hectic.
feels like insubstantial, kind of.
Yeah, it feels like it was over instantly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so there's interesting behind the scenes stuff there.
Mm.
If you spend like half an hour on the internet, you'll figure it all out. You can read between all
Right.
the
Yeah.
lines. But we are getting a Christmas special this year. That is
Okay.
confirmed. That
Right.
I
Because we
guess it's
didn't have
filming.
one last year. I don't
Did we?
think so.
No, because we had the
I don't think so.
regeneration. The
Oh
season
yes,
finale was the
right. Yes, of
regeneration.
course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we
yeah.
didn't have one.
Which I think is the first time in a long time. I mean, we didn't have Christmas specials for most of Chibnall. We had New Year's specials, but it was
Yeah,
still like
just
once a year you get something, right?
yeah,
So it was quite jarring for me not to have any special at that time of year.
yeah. So yeah, we are getting one this year, and I believe it's not a Disney co-production. So
Okay.
what I understand is that the BBC is looking for co-production partners because like this is like self-imposed restrictions, right? Because like
Mm.
they just like we can't compete with like the budget levels of TV anymore, so we need
Right.
help. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, why? And
Exactly.
like
I mean,
because
Doctor Who's always
they'll
been low budget,
yeah,
right?
but
I
they'll
mean,
point to like how Star Trek looks now on TV or something. It's like
yeah.
we have to produce a product that looks a certain way, or else it's not going to compete on the world stage. Or
Yeah.
I feel like there's a little bit self-imposed restrictions because
Yeah. I think so.
if I trust audiences enough, we've spoken about this before. I trust audiences
Yes.
enough that if you give them something that is good,
Yes.
that they're gonna watch it. Like
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I was in the UK recently, and speaking to just average English people, right? We come from South Africa, where, I mean, when you first told me about Doctor Who, you had to tell me all various creative ways to go and watch this, because it wasn't even available on TV, right? And no one knows about it. Like, it's not even a term that a lot of people have heard.
Yeah.
Whereas in the UK, I mean, you mentioned Doctor Who, they're all fans, whether they are sci-fi fans or not.
Yeah, but
They
even
all know about it.
even it's like it's such a institution that the people who don't watch the show will still watch the
Yes.
Christmas special. It's like
Right.
a
Yeah,
tradition that
exactly.
they have
Yeah.
to watch the Doctor Who
And they
Christmas
still
special.
know about the Doctor and the TARDIS and the regenerations and everything. But they all know, just like we look back on the golden era. They all know that, all right? Like, people our age and younger, they remember David Tennant and Matt Smith and Eccleston.
Yeah.
No one talks about Ncuti Gatwa or Jodie Whittaker, right? Like, they're like, yeah, no, we don't care about that. We care about the good old days when the budget was lower, but it was more impactful. So yeah, you don't need a big budget. Just make it good, and you will have it. All you need to do is get the UK to watch, right? And they're already on board. And then the rest of the world will follow. Obviously, a little bit less, but yeah, I'm in agreement with that. That you just need to make it good again. It doesn't have to be high budget. Just make it good, and people will watch it.
Yeah. I feel like the whole kind of thing of saying like, no, we need to have big special effects so we can compete with Star Trek and Game of Thrones or whatever it is. Like, but that's not who you're competing with. Like, you're just
exactly. Yes.
You're Doctor Who. Go film in the Thames Waterworks station and make it an alien base or whatever.
Exactly.
Like, that's what you've been doing the whole time. Just go back to the basics. It's
yeah. No, I mean, I always go back to, I think one of probably the best or most brilliant episode, at least, from New Who is Midnight. Because, I mean, there is no alien. There's nothing sci-fi, actually, about that entire episode, right? I mean, you don't see anything. The alien it's not corporeal. It's just some knocks on the outside and then someone gets possessed or whatever. And it's like, fantastic. I mean, how much could that have cost, right? You needed one set and a few actors.
But that season, that episode in that season would have been like, production would have spoken about like, okay, this is the one where we're like saving money on it, right? That would have been the intention behind it. Like, okay, we need to get cheap on one episode.
Exactly, because we're going big on something else.
Yeah, so just go off and write a chamber piece about group dynamics, under tension or whatever, and it became like this masterpiece.
And that's what I always say about Star Trek as well, the original series, is that they had this vision, but they were in the 1960s. And I mean, I think they had a relatively big budget, but they couldn't do what they wanted, right? They couldn't make epic space battles and everything. So they were forced to write good stories. Mm-hmm. And now we get Star Trek, right? So it's when you've got a constraint like that, don't spend a lot of money. It's like, oh no, now I actually have to put in some work and create something amazing, right? Yeah. Otherwise, no one's going to care. So
yeah, but then you have this iteration was like, you had like the Disney Corporation is like more money than God available to you. So and what did you do? So you made a bigger TARDIS interior. You made like the corridors longer on the spaceships, I guess, with the green screen or whatever. But like I don't know. I think most of the stories that they presented would have still worked on a lower budget level.
Exactly. Yeah. It wasn't like I was, there were certain moments when you watch it and you're like, okay, I can see they've got a bit of a bigger budget, but that's not what made the show different. It wasn't like, oh, now it's finally watchable. Yeah. Right. Because now it's got a big budget. You could easily take that away and it would have been the same show.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But, the messaging coming out of the BBC is consistent. Like, they're committed to Doctor Who, but they need some help, I guess, is the thing. And there are rumors recently that there's something going on with AMC, the AMC network, which is behind Breaking Bad. It doesn't mean anything about what Doctor Who would be, but just like,
of course, yeah.
It's just an American network. I don't know if that's true or not.
Right. Yeah.
But we are.
So you don't know who they're collaborating with for this.
They want to. I think they have spoken to Netflix. I don't think Netflix is particularly interested, given what happened on Disney Plus.
Right. Yeah.
Because that wasn't very successful for them. So we'll see. I mean, the messaging is we're getting more Doctor Who. We're getting a Christmas special this year. The show will continue going forward, is what we're being told. But we are back in this thing of like, especially like the Chibnall era. It's like, damn, are we getting anything this year? Like, what's going on?
Exactly. It's like you don't hear anything, and you're like, "Well, is it over? What's going to happen now?"
Yeah, and I feel like Doctor Who should be something where I'm getting at least 10 a year, right? I'm going to have that time of year where like, okay, the new season starts. I'm going to be watching every weekend the new episode. And just keep that going indefinitely. Like,
exactly. Because I mean, I'm also someone who, even if I'm loving a show, I often forget to watch the episode, or I put it off and then suddenly watch 3 in a row or whatever. Doctor Who, without fail, every week I'm there, right?
Yeah,
and it's like normally if it's not on the day, it's like the next day or whatever. I need to be up to date with it. Yeah. And I don't care if it's bad. If it's bad, I'm still gonna watch it.
Because the next one might be good.
Exactly. And I mean, I also, there are a lot of people who like, no, I didn't watch for the Chibnall era, but then I came back in the Disney era or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but you have to suffer. You have to go and you have to suffer. You have to go through the bad times. You have to go through there, because now then you get the reward at the end. But then the Disney era doesn't end up being exactly the reward that we were thinking it was. Yeah.
I mean, I still think largely like it was good. It's just for what they set out to do was the job that Russell T Davies was given by BBC and Disney was not completed, right? That's why it's not continuing.
Exactly.
But I would have been just fine if high budget Doctor Who kept going.
Yeah,
but it's just like, it's just not the, it's just it's not even like the cherry on top.
No, exactly.
It's just like whatever. But if that's what they wanted to do, then fine. But it didn't work.
Yeah. I mean, I've sort of been saying for a while that I think, might be a bit sacrilegious, but like I think that Doctor Who does need a little bit of a break, and I think that's probably what we're getting now. I'm really hoping that.
But we've had the breaks. That's the thing I'm saying. Like we've had the breaks this decade. It's been such.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is I'm hoping that this has actually been the break. Because I was imagining like a clean break like we had in the 90s. But I hope that this is now the break. This is the point where we didn't get a Christmas special last year. It isn't happening clearly and whatever. And in the next couple years, suddenly it becomes a thing again. I'm really hoping for like some fresh ideas, some fresh blood.
Yeah. And well, I guess the exciting thing is there's going to be a new Doctor. That's However that turns out.
I mean, you don't think
not Billy Piper. It's not.
Yeah, Billy I was Piper. About to say you don't. Billy Piper's not going to be the next.
Yeah, but
Doctor, right?
When that happened, like an hour later, there was like a press release. Like Billy Piper did like a post on Instagram saying like, "Oh, I'm so excited" or whatever. But all the hints they were saying were like, her and Russell Davis and whatever. It's like they were all like, "But who is this mysterious new person?" It's like, okay, so she's not going to be the Doctor for like 3 years or whatever.
No, exactly. I think she's probably going to be there in the Christmas special, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's her only thing. Right? I was sort of thinking that's
what I think is going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking that maybe she was going to do like a trio of specials, like Tennant did as the 14th. But I don't even think that anymore. I think she's going to be in the Christmas special as like some sort of, I put in inverted commas, meta crisis Doctor type of thing, sort of like some mistake, some sort of like reset or whatever, and then she's not going to be the Doctor.
What might even happen, because again, we don't know behind the scenes what the plan going forward is. What might even happen is that you see a regeneration begin and no new actor appears.
I think that's the best thing to do. Yes, I think that would be fantastic.
So I'm not saying if that's a good or bad thing. I'm saying that I think that's going to happen.
Okay.
And I'm not
but
sure.
I think it's a good thing, because then they can relax and they can go and think about things, right? And like make an actual plan.
They're like thinking now. They need to be thinking now. Like,
right.
2026, sure. We're gonna get one episode of Doctor Who. For crying out loud. 2027, let's go. Come on.
Yeah.
26 a year, even. Do I dare say 26 a year, please? Just keep going. Make new stuff, please. I just want it back on the screen,
Yeah. No, same.
But yeah, I guess that covers everything, right? We
Probably,
spoke
yeah.
about Doctor Who the movie. We did our basically effectively an introduction to Doctor Who for this podcast,
Yes.
because it's going to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
a big thing going forward. We're going to talk about
Exactly. Yeah.
We're going to figure out a way to get Doctor Who on the pod before the Christmas special in some way.
Exactly. I mean,
Probably.
we mentioned the possibility of like watching some classic Who at some stage, even.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, so we'll do it at some stage for sure. This was our first sort of excuse to bring it in.
Exactly. We needed to.
And I
We
mean,
needed to.
you
We
know, if
checked
you're
off
watching
Star
on
Trek. We checked off Star
exactly,
Wars. This is,
you know, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see I've got my Doctor Who shirt,
Yeah,
my
exactly.
scarf. I was so excited to be doing Doctor Who again. I was like, yes, please, you know.
Yeah, but now that we've done those three, you know, that leaves Battlestar Galactica, which
Oh, yeah, I was thinking about that as well.
this whole the pod is just an excuse for me to get you finally watching that. That's
exactly,
the whole thing
yeah,
is
yeah.
a psyop.
This is the new ad maths class, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe that's everything. So thank you for listening. And wherever you are, wherever you get your podcast, to like, subscribe, follow, leave a comment if you want. Follow us on Instagram at Where No Pod for some fun reels that we post, so you can see what's coming next from us. As always, and next Monday we're going to be catching up with For All Mankind. We're going to be talking about season 5, episodes 6, 7, and 8. If I'm correct in that.
Yeah, I think so.
Which I'm excited to get back on Mars. That's going to be good.
Yes.
But yeah, thanks again for listening. And as always, live long and prosper, which feels weird to say in a Doctor Who episode, but I'll leave it in.